everybody, and thank you for watching this video about emergency response procedures in the union and what your responsibilities are as a staff member in Oglesby Union Guest Services. Of course, our primary concern for anyone, not only our staff, but anyone who enters our facility, is their safety. So I'm going to go over with you during this video some important emergency procedures that you need to be aware of and familiar with, and where you can find this information. The first thing that we're going to talk about is our emergency evacuation plan for the union. As you all know, knock on wood, we do have the occasional fire alarm. If a fire alarm goes off, it's never a drill. We have one annual drill a year, and in that case, it is a drill. You'll know it's a drill. I will tell you it's a drill. I will even be the one to pull the pull station. But don't pull pull stations, because that is a felony unless the fire marshal on campus says that you can. So, once again, when the fire alarm goes off here in the union, it is not a drill. We do need to evacuate, and if anybody asks, then the answer is yes, we need to evacuate. The places that we need to evacuate and focus on evacuating primarily are the Krinsman Lounge, the Bridge Lounge. Make sure that the staff in the computer lab is starting to evacuate that area. Check the restrooms next to the computer lab and down the hallway next to the ballrooms. And the MECO room, the ballrooms, the ballroom service hallway, and room 234. So, as you can see, we start in the Krinsman Lounge and we kind of go eastwardly, moving out of the building and then down to our evacuation area, which is where we need to meet up. As soon as we've gone through all of our designated areas, that's where we need to meet up to do a head count, to make sure that all the staff who was on shift has shown up and that we're all safe and accounted for, and then we will go to our designated building entry or union complex entry points to not let people enter the facility, not even the courtyard, during the evacuation until we get the all clear. The all clear will come over the radio, and it will be given by the first responders or someone from union operations who has been in contact with the first responders. Now, the plan that I just outlined for you is particularly what we do during the regular workday, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. During the evenings and on the weekends, when there are fewer professional staff here, there are other alternate plans for what our building managers and setup crew need to be responsible for. That is available for you in our Canvas site. So you need to review that so that you understand your responsibilities and are prepared for when we have an emergency evacuation that's typically has to do with the fire alarm. For the student services building, we still have to evacuate if the fire alarm goes off. Once again, gonna knock on wood. In the past 4 years, I don't remember there being an evacuation of the student services building due to a fire alarm, fortunately. If that is the case, though, of course, any staff that's on duty there needs to make sure to evacuate all of our meeting spaces, exit calmly through the doors that are on the Legacy Walk side or the Wellness Building side, and go across to the area that's in front of the Wellness Building. Once again, get a head count of whoever was working, and the building manager on duty or the pro staff on duty will need to make sure to not allow anyone to re-enter the facility until someone comes and investigates the cause of the alarm and gives us the all clear. Pretty simple stuff, but important to go over all the same. The next thing I want to talk to you all about are the automated external defibrillators that we have, otherwise known as AEDs. So, we have AEDs in 2 locations. The first is at the Student Services Building on the 2nd floor. If you're in the elevator, it's to the left of the elevator. If you're facing the elevator, it's to the right of the elevator. It's right there on the wall. You can't miss it. The other location is behind the information desk in the Krinsman Lounge. So it's very important to know where those are and ingrain that in your mind, because in an emergency situation, you just need to be automatically headed toward that area if you're the one sent to get an AED. This is what an AED looks like. You may notice this black pouch that is cleverly rubber banded onto the back of it. This is a ready kit. Inside of the ready kit are a few items that I want to show you so that you know what you have available to you. If for some reason this AED needs to be deployed and used, the things that you will want to have are first and foremost your universal precautions, which are your gloves, and your mask. This is not only to protect you, the person who is needing medical attention, but also you, and protecting you from anything that they could have. It's just called universal precautions. It protects you against any bloodborne pathogens, or actually creates a barrier between your mouth and the other person's if for some reason you had to actually provide rescue breaths. So there are gloves and a mask in the ready kit. There's also a set of scissors. When you have to apply the pads that are here with the AED, you do have to put it on bare skin. So if you need to cut someone's clothing off in order to save their life, that is what these scissors are for. There's also a razor because, like I said, the pad needs to go on pretty much bare skin. So if you've got someone who's particularly hairy in the chest region, you're going to need to shave them before you put the pads on them. Got some gauze, got a napkin, and those are the things that are in our ready kit. In order to open the AED, you push down on this yellow button and pull the face down. Then it will activate.
Stay calm. Follow these voice instructions. Make sure 911...
And it will give you voice commands. I'm not going to let it run through the entire set of voice commands. And all of our building managers go through a training to familiarize them with AEDs, the voice commands, what you need to do in order if you have to deploy the AED. But if there's not a building manager around and you have the AED and you need to help someone with it, just follow the voice commands. Do everything it tells you to do. You can't actually hurt someone with an AED because when you put the sensors on them, even if they have a pulse, even if you don't think they have a pulse, the sensors will find a rhythm if there is one there, and if it does not need to shock that person, it won't do it. So anything that you can do to help preserve life or save someone's life, please don't hesitate to go ahead and help with that. And that is all about our AEDs. So, fire extinguishers. There are fire extinguishers located throughout the union in many locations. As you walk through the union the next time, make sure to check and be on the lookout for fire extinguishers because they're probably there and you never even noticed them. We also have them in the student services building. And if for some reason you find a small contained fire, like maybe there's something in a trash can burning and you think that you have the time to go ahead and use a fire extinguisher to put that small fire out without causing any danger to yourself or anyone around you, there is an acronym called PASS that helps you remember how to use the fire extinguisher. PASS stands for pull, so pull the pin out of the extinguisher. Aim the hose at the base of the fire. Squeeze, so squeeze the trigger at the where you pulled the pin out of the extinguisher. And sweep the end of the hose at the base of the fire. Once again, all the building managers have experience using a fire extinguisher and putting out a fire with a fire extinguisher, but it's a good bit of knowledge for everybody on the staff to have because it's important to think about safety, and a lot of times we don't think about it until it's too late. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is what you should do in case you see a suspicious individual, suspicious package, or any crime or activity going on that needs to be reported to the FSU PD because, of course, as we've already mentioned, we want to make sure that we're keeping a safe environment and welcoming environment. And that starts with us because we are the people who are in the facility day in and day out. We see what's going on. We, for the most part, know who's supposed to be here, and we follow our instincts when we know that something may not be on the up and up. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you're safe and the people around you are safe. And once you are safe, contact FSU PD to let them know what situation is happening. If there are suspects or people who are committing the acts involved, you need to be very observant for these individuals. And there is an acronym that can help you discern the information that you need to share with dispatch when you call in the situation. And that acronym is WHO, HER. It stands for weight, height, obvious scars, marks, or tattoos, hair color, eye color, and race. So think about those things in addition to a description of what the person is physically wearing and the direction that they went, because every little bit of information that you can provide to FSU PD would be very helpful in getting them to come and resolve the situation. The other thing that we want to talk about, and of course we hope never happens, is if a bomb threat is called in. You know, this has happened on our campus in the past few years, not to the Union, but it was called into another facility across campus. It turned out to not be an actual threat, but regardless of whether or not we think it may or may not happen in the future, we need to take it seriously. So if you are the person who receives that phone call, the first thing that you need to do is try to get the attention of someone else around you and silently notify them of what is happening. So you could write it down on a piece of paper and slide it to them, flag them down, bring them over, and let them know that they need to call FSU PD and try to get officers here as quickly as possible. Because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to stay on the phone with the individual calling in the bomb threat for as long as you can. Ask them questions. Try to keep them talking. Ask them questions about what type of bomb it is, where it is, when is it going to go off, what does it look like, those type of things. You never know what information they may be willing to supply and that you can then supply to the officers. Another reason that they want you to keep them on the line for as long as you possibly can is to listen for accents that the person may have, try to discern their gender, maybe listen for background noise. So you never know what information is going to help police officers and first responders find someone who is responsible for this. So that's what you need to do in those types of situations. So if you have a suspicious activity going on or a bomb threat called in and you do have interaction with FSU PD, it's very important that you follow up and get the information from the officer about the case number that it's going to be filed under, because if we need to call back with any further information, then we'll add it to that case. And then also that information needs to be passed along to pro staff or the building manager on duty and included in the building manager report. One thing that unfortunately we're seeing happen in our society more and more are active shooter situations, and we definitely hope that never happens again on this campus and hopefully on any other campus or any other public place. But just in case, we want to make sure that you have a way of reacting to the situation that is going to increase your chances of surviving. The first thing that I want to share with you all is FSU PD has created a method of responding to these types of active threat situations, and it's called the FIRE method, and it stands for flee, inform, reinforce, and engage. So the first one, flee, pretty obvious. If you see a dangerous situation, hear shots fired, or know of a dangerous situation, or receive an FSU alert that there is a dangerous situation occurring and to avoid certain parts of campus, definitely follow those instructions and get away, flee the danger zone as quickly as possible and also as safely as possible. Step 2, and it's always step 2, regardless of if you first flee or first reinforce or first engage, step 2 is always to inform. So if you run away and you get to safety, inform FSU PD of what's going on. If you are hiding and you are enforcing the area where you're hiding so no one can find you, hopefully, until help arrives, step 2, inform FSU PD of what's going on. If you're not able to talk and don't want to make any noise, you can use the Seminole Safe app to contact FSU PD with your phone. The other is engage. So if you are hiding, if you have reinforced your area, yet the perpetrator is still able to get to you and you must defend your own life, this is going to happen in a matter of seconds, and you just need to look around, find anything that you could potentially use as a weapon, and save your own life. Engage that individual, and then once you have successfully subdued them, because I know that you will, then inform FSU PD of what's going on. So flee, inform, reinforce, engage, and hopefully we never run into this situation. But if we do, hopefully those steps will help you increase your chances of survival. We also do annual active shooter workshops and trainings at the union for union employees, and so I will definitely keep you all informed of when the next one is. It's a very interactive workshop. They do teach you ways that you can, if you were to engage, ways that you could protect yourself and others around you and distract the shooter or otherwise take them down. So I've been very impressed with the work that FSUPD has done to keep our community safe and by creating this program. So one of the most important things that you can do here at Florida State University to keep yourself safe is to sign up for FSU Alerts. If you go to the Emergency Procedures Handbook that I have put in the Canvas site for you, there is information, there's a link for how you can sign up for FSU Alerts if you haven't already. Go ahead and sign up for the email alerts, the text messages, because that is going to keep you informed in any type of ongoing situation, whether it be weather related or an active shooter or active threat situation. You will get texts that will tell you what to do and you follow those instructions. So, for instance, in a weather related situation, you're going to want to follow what the alert is saying. If it's a severe thunderstorm, tornado warning, those types of things, usually it says to seek shelter inside of a building, away from doors and windows. You're going to want to make sure that not only are you are doing that, but the rest of the staff on duty and anybody else here in the facility is safe. Another thing that I would recommend that you all do, in addition to signing up for FSU Alerts, is to download the Seminole Safe app. There's a lot of information in this app that can help keep you safe. There's also a Get Help feature where you click the button and you can click one more button to call 911 or one button to call FSUPD for a non-emergency situation. It does tell you how to respond to situations, tropical storms, hurricanes, bomb threats, different things like that. There's a lot of important safety information in here, and ultimately we are all responsible for our own personal safety. We can put procedures in place, we can do trainings, but when things come down to it, we are responsible for keeping ourselves and the people around us safe. So make sure that you're using everything at your disposal. And if you have any questions about anything that we've covered when it comes to emergency procedures in the union or risk management or anything like that, please follow up with me. And if you have any suggestions on trainings that we should do or staff meeting agenda items, definitely let me know, because it's very important to me, as I know that it is to you. If you're injured while you're at work, you are covered under the university's workers' compensation insurance. Regardless of whether or not you want to seek treatment for your injury, it does need to be reported. So if it happens on an evening or weekend when there's a professional staff member who's not on duty, you need to let the building manager know so that I can then follow up with you and report the nature of the injury. Of course, if any emergency treatment is needed, seek that treatment first. We want your safety and your life to come first. But if it is a situation that can wait for treatment till another time, then definitely meet with me first. We'll fill out the paperwork that we need to fill out, and you will be told which authorized or covered physicians that you can go to. I just want everybody to understand that that is something that is available to you, and we do want to report any injuries that happen at work. Things that I've reported in the past have been if somebody accidentally ran over their foot with a table cart, or if somebody's hand got closed in the partitions. Of course, we try to train everyone on the safe ways to do these things, but accidents do happen. So if an accident does happen and it's while you're here at work doing a work-related function, then you need to report that to pro staff and building managers. There are a couple other things that I wanted to close out with really quickly. As most of you know, these handbooks exist at the information desk here and at the student services building. They need to stay in those locations and not be removed. If for some reason you notice that it's missing, I do have extras that we can replace it with. They should have the location listed here and the physical address of that space, because if you needed to call in an emergency and they asked for the address, you would need that information and it will be right there on the front. One of the most important things that I wanted to point out in this guide is maintenance emergencies. Like, let's say you find a giant leak that's causing water to flow down the stairs, and it's a danger, it's flooding, it could be a danger for people to slip and fall, but it's after hours and none of our operations staff are around. What number do you call? You call FSU Facilities at 644-2424. That is the after hours maintenance line, and that is who you need to call in any type of maintenance emergency, including the elevator not working, and especially if someone is stuck in the elevator. Sometimes this number can ring and ring and ring without being answered. If you're running into that situation and you're not able to get in touch with someone, the next thing that you need to do is call FSU police at 644-1234 to report the situation, because of course we want to make sure that we're ensuring a safe environment. And if you're not getting results, call them the after hours maintenance line, which is again 644-2424. Then call FSU PD at 644-1234. As far as medical emergencies and when to use the AED, like I said, our building managers do go through that training, but there are some steps that you could follow in the emergency procedures handbook. So please take a look at that information and definitely let me know if you have any questions about anything that we've covered here. It's a very, very brief overview, but the resources are there for you to follow up with, and hopefully stay safe and keep all of us.